Welcome in, everybody. Happy 4th of July. It is Friday. It's time for Total Bases. My family's already headed out to the boat. Mallory and my in-laws, they're like, we're going to the boat early today. And guys, I was like, I got to stay back. The viewers deserve a proper show. There's 15 games. What's more 4th of July? What's more USA than baseball all day? And I got to be honest, Bryan Leonard, I'm not the biggest boat guy. I don't know about you. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the ADD hyperactivity starts to kick in for me. I can't just sit out there all day. So I'm happy to be back here with you guys talking a loaded slate, 11 a.m. Eastern, all the way till tonight. Welcome in. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I blew the parlay for the second day in a row yesterday. I had Milwaukee lose 3-2. We did have a winning day for our clients, and we also won the over as a free play in the Yankees game. So I think we won like 7 of 8 free plays. So overall, pretty good day. I just made a bad judgment. I like the Angels and the Brewers, and the Angels win straight up, plus 134 or something. And the Brewers didn't come in. But overall, good day for our clients. Unfortunately, I didn't get that victory for us here on the parlay.
And as it goes, I lost my 5% play, but I had a winning day because I won everything else. So that's kind of how it goes. But everyone wants to buy the 5% plays. Happy 4th of July, everyone living abroad. These are the days that I get kind of homesick even after 30 years living abroad because they don't do the fireworks. I don't get to hang out with people and barbecue and stuff. So these are the days that I regret living overseas. So happy 4th of July, everyone. Bryan, thank you. Yesterday, you gave me compliments for helping your capping about using recent form. I forgot to mention you helped my capping as well because you said bases on balls to strikeout rate is a huge measure for you. And I added a little portion of that to my capping. So just an example of how our show helps each other and you guys to do your own capping as well. What's up, Adam?
We're going to talk Astros, Dodgers. We're going to talk anything you guys want to talk about in the chat for the next hour, but we have to start in our nation's capital, 11 a.m. Eastern. We've got Red Sox, Nationals. It is a standalone 11 a.m. game on a Friday afternoon. Bryan Leonard, what gets better? What's better than that? And an interesting matchup as well. So we've got Giolito, Soroka, Reds, Nats. How are you seeing this one?
There it goes. Okay. My line service had just dropped off for a second, bounced back. We're looking at Giolito, Soroka. Boston's basically a 107 favorite, 8.5 on the total, slightly to the under. Giolito looked really good last time out. He went 7 innings, no earned runs against the Blue Jays, which is really something the way the Blue Jays have been hitting lately. Hats off to the center fielder, who I thought was over. I thought he was done, and he's just tore up the Yankees. So good for him. But his last starts have been pretty good. 7 innings, no earned runs against Boston or Toronto. 6 innings, 2 earned runs against the Giants, another team that struggled offensively lately. Against the Mariners, 6 innings, 0 earned runs, and against Tampa Bay, 6 innings, 0 earned runs. So he's peaking right now. He was coming back from surgery. He's coming back from injuries, and he's spent a lot of time on the injury list over the years. He did get 33 starts in 2023, but was out of action all of last year. Now he's got 11 starts in, 3.99 ERA. Expected ERA looks to be 4.97, a little bit higher. And his whip is 133, a little bit higher than his career numbers. Great extension, 87th percentile, but his expected batting average is only in the 7th. His expected ERA to 14th, hard hit 16. A lot of that came early on when he was just getting started. We saw something very similar out of the Miami pitcher yesterday. Perez pitched a great game, and everything came together for him. So when you've got these guys coming back from injury, it's going to take them a while. And we talk about that all the time. Usually control is the last thing that comes. But they start to hit it, and they're doing very well. In fact, Michael Soroka is doing pretty well, too. Comes in with a 4.70 ERA, but his expected is 3.05. Big difference there. 1.03 whip. This is a guy I'm looking to bet on. His extension is poor in the 21st percentile, but he's been very good in his numbers. Just take a look at what he has done game logs lately. Last time out, 6 innings, 1 earned run to the Angels, a hot hitting team. Before that, he played the Dodgers, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs. Not the greatest, but still, that's the Dodgers. So he's played pretty well so far. After his first 3 starts, he gave up 4 earned runs in each of those. So both of these pitchers are on the upswing here. Like I said, we're looking at the game of slightly Boston, a small favorite. Basically, they pick them pretty much everywhere with Soroka. I kind of like the under here. It's an early game, very early for these guys. It's going to be an 11 o'clock Eastern. They're not used to playing at that time. And we've got 2 pitchers pitching very well right now. And the Boston offense still hasn't put it together since the trade. In fact, Devers still hasn't done anything in San Francisco either. I kind of like the under here. I like the Washington hitters overall, but with these 2 pitchers catching an 8.5 here, that would be my lean under Boston and Washington in this very early game.
So when Giolito came back, I was expecting him to be a train wreck. But if you look at how he's been performing his last 4 starts, his last 5 starts, his last 6, 7 starts, he's given up 3 runs in his last 7 starts, and he's gone 7, 4. Okay, he had a 1.2 inning there where he gave up 7 earned runs. That was a bad one. And then he went 6, 6, 6, 7 innings, giving up only 3. Okay, that's removing the clunker he had against the Angels. So Giolito, basically, in a nutshell, Giolito's pitching really well right now, and I did not expect that. Soroka, on the other hand, Soroka has got lots of talent. He hit a rough patch. We'll see if he's back. I don't know. I'm not convinced he's back yet. He did have a good start against the Angels there, after giving up 4, 3, and 3 earned in 3 starts there. He gave up only 1 against the Angels. Like Bryan said, they're a good hitting team. So is Soroka back or not? I'm not certain, but I definitely know Giolito's pitching really well right now. However, my numbers have Soroka ranked higher than Giolito. So it's a bit of a dichotomy here as far as my analysis is concerned. Boston's bullpen not performing well. Washington's bullpen is performing a little bit better, but neither one is actually very good. And both lineups are cranking it right now. So the way I would go here would probably be, I haven't played it yet, but if I were to, probably would go a Boston team total. Just because, man, it's pretty rare to see a pitcher go like 7 starts like that, giving up only 3 runs, if you remove one of his clunkers. So I'm convinced Giolito's back. So I don't really want to bet an over against him. So I would say maybe Boston team total over.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly the over. I agree with what Bryan said about the early start. That being said, with the pitching, the fact the Nats bullpen's a little bit used up, the fact that the Nationals have really torn the cover off the ball against right-handed pitching, since they sort of retooled their lineup to have a lot of left-handed bats in it, what would certainly make me lean toward the over. Mark Kinson says can't trust Giolito. Yeah, I don't trust him either. I know he's pitched a little bit better of late, but I don't trust him either. He's definitely a right-handed pitcher that I could see the Nationals getting to. That being said, I still think the Red Sox are a tad undervalued at this point. If Giolito does pitch well, then they're obviously going to be in better position later in the game. So this is a tough handicap. I'd love to find something. I wish I had more conviction on something because I know people are going to want to bet it. It is the standalone game. Maybe isolate, maybe Nats first 5, where you're taking the bullpen out of the equation and you're sort of isolating Giolito, because I do think the Nats left-heavy lineup could potentially get to him. So not a super strong opinion for me, and I won't spend much more time on it. But I did want to talk about that game because that is a standalone game and the first one off the board today. Phenomenal comment that we got to pull up here. Walmart Stamkos says this is his first time watching live. He's walking into the gym in Medellin, Colombia. That's awesome. I didn't know we were live in Columbia. I didn't know people were watching us in Columbia. And Tokyo Brandon, I don't like, you're like the show movie type guy. Anytime I think of Medellin, I think of Entourage, which was like my favorite show in college. We lived for Entourage when I was at Siena in the mid 2000s. I always think of Medellin. I think Vinny, the movie that they really wanted to get through about like Pablo Escobar. Great show. But he says, can we agree if my phone gets stolen while watching, I can choose a free 5% play? Hit me up on Twitter. We might be able to make that happen. I do have a 5%er tonight. So, you know, if you can prove that your phone got stolen, yeah, I'll give you that one for free. But I do have a 5%er. I won my 5%er last night on the Giants. I got one tonight. And we've got a great special right now that gets you all three of us for 7 days for one low price. So go over to any of our pages. Check that out. And I am thrilled that people in Columbia are liking Total Bases and watching the show. And that's thanks to all you guys who like and subscribe every day. So very much appreciated there. Kingwater 122 says, shout out to the trio for showing up on the 4th. Yeah, we would be nowhere else. It's 4th of July and baseball go hand in hand. And there's a full slate of games. We got to talk about them. Let's go to what I think could very well be a feature type matchup. And Bryan Leonard, I got to be honest, that I did not have that. Like, if you told me 2 months ago or even a month ago that this would be one of the biggest games on 4th of July with two of the best teams in the league, one of them would have been a no-brainer. The other one I would not have had in a million years. That's Astros Dodgers. This isn't 2018. I mean, this Astros team was not supposed to be this. I look at this lineup. I'm like, do people even know more than two players in this line? Like, when I say people, I mean the semi-informed baseball fan might not be able to name more than Altuve in this 1 through 9 that's being trotted out there on a daily basis for the Astros. And yet all they do, I know they lost yesterday, but all they do is win baseball games. Now they head out to Tinseltown for a pretty big series this weekend. Astros Dodgers. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, the Astros have had a lot of young players. Obviously, the pitcher yesterday that Brandon used for his strikeout prop. They've had a lot of great young players that have come out this year, and they played very well. And if you've got a good organization, like obviously Houston does, you're able to do that. You've got guys that you see other teams where you get a lot of injuries, and they don't have anybody at all. And we've talked about the Braves pitching staff in that situation. It all depends on the organization. There's certain teams that can build all the way through. There's other teams that have to buy their players. So keep that in mind. And the Dodgers are another team. We've seen that all year long. They've had a lot of problems with their starting pitchers being injured. They continue to bring guys up. So they've got a great minor league system, and that's something you have to chart coming into the year. I always talk about, even though they got a 25-man roster or whatever they're using right now, you got to check the 40-man roster. You got to check the guys in the minors, and that because those players are going to be used as the season goes on, and you don't want to be playing a future on somebody's starting lineup because they're all going to get injured, especially if you're a pitcher this year. Houston at LA, McCullers and Kasperius getting the actual start today. He's been used mostly as a bulk guy coming in after a starter, but he's getting the start today. McCullers for Houston. And we're looking at the Dodgers at about 175 favorite, 9. First thought of this is that line's pretty high. I know the Dodgers are an elite team, but Houston in that price range, you're not going to find Houston in that price range. I don't care who they put on the mound. They've got McCullers going today. We look at the StatCast numbers. McCullers, the only problem you have with McCullers is you don't know which McCullers you're going to get. Is he the healthy McCullers, or is he the guy still trying to fight his way back from injury? So far this year, it has not been pretty. 6.61 ERA, 4.84 expected. A little better, but still not what you really want. 1.62 whip. And that's one of those situations where I just talked about earlier about catching your control. He's got a 12.7 walk rate. He had a 12.3 the year before, or 11.3 in 2022, the last healthy year. At least he was till he got hurt. And then 11.1 the year before. So he's had problems with his control for a while now. And if you take a look at his Savant page, he's in the first percentile chase rate, first percentile hard hit rate, 6% percentile in walk rate. He struggled so far, but we know if he is healthy, he's a good pitcher and you can get good bargain on him. Problem is, you won't know until the game starts, which is probably why I won't get involved with this one until I see the beginning couple innings. Kasperius, 3.97 ERA, 3.16 expected. The guy's a big-time prospect, 1.13 whip. Now, his ground ball rate is in the 17th percentile, so he gives up a lot of fly balls. And out of this division, this is one stadium that does give up the home runs. His extension is only in the 5th percentile, so the team's got plenty of time to adjust to him. But he's got a lot of red on his StatCast page. Hard hit rate, 96th percentile. Walk rate, 89th percentile. Average exit velocity, 87. He's been very good. Problem is, he doesn't pitch a lot of innings. On the season, he's got 56 innings pitched. This is only going to be his third start. As I said, he's come out of the bullpen 23 times. Good pitcher and a very good future ahead of him. But for myself, anytime I could catch a good team like Houston, I've got to look at that a little bit. Hopefully, we can get through a couple innings here, and the starting pitcher for Houston looks pretty good, and I could come in and play this a little bit more of an in-game type of thing. And if I can catch something near that number in maybe the third inning, it might be something that's worthy of value. But for a pregame, I will be sitting this one out.
All right. I also have a 5% play today. Maybe it's the same one as Adams. I have no idea, but I have a 5%.
Absolutely shocked if it is.
Okay, then it's not. So go ahead and grab that. Actually, WagerTalk made a special for all three of us. It's called Triple Play, I think it's called. Triple Play. So if you go to any of our pages at that little scroller down there, do us a huge favor. Go to the replay of this video. Give us a comment and a like. Again, management at WagerTalk keeps coming to us three and saying, God, your interaction is so awesome with the people. So it's all because of you guys. So please help us out there. Helps our reputations, and it just makes us feel good. So let's get into this one. I'm the biggest Dodgers fan, and I'll tell you why. Actually, as a sports bettor, I'm not a fan of anyone, but I'm cheering for the Dodgers because I have a future on them. If they break Seattle, the 2001 record, the Ichiro's Mariners, 117 wins. If the Dodgers break that, I have a 3% play at plus 2,400. So I'm really hoping the Dodgers do that. I'll get plus 84%. So I'm cheering for the Dodgers, nevertheless. But let's face it, they have gotten this far, and they're on pace to get to 117, actually. They're going to have probably 60 wins at the All-Star break. And they're doing it with a patchwork rotation. They got like 5 of their starters out. Sasaki's gone. Snell's gone. Sasaki, Snell. Glasnow's gone. They're just missing so many guys. And they're just patchworking it just like they did last year. Mm-hmm. And last year they ended up winning, 98, 96 games, something like that. They were just short of 100. Ryan Slayer, good luck, TB. 117 ain't happening. Why? When they get Snell back, they get Sasaki back. They're gonna get Glasnow back. They're gonna get Trinan back. They're gonna get a lot of guys back, man. This team is gonna be full throttle in the second half, and I'm not guaranteeing anything, but they got a better chance of getting it than they have of not getting it. Anyways, I have Kasperian ranked a little bit higher than McCullers, but I don't know if I can trust that number because McCullers is. The sample size is small, and he used to be a complete stud. So I don't know. He's going to snap back into it and start playing really well, I have a feeling. So Houston's bullpen better than the Dodgers bullpen at the moment. But I got Ben Kasperius ranked 12 on a curve of 30, and I don't think he's either that good. Sometimes you can't just fully trust your numbers. You have to use an eye test, and he does not pass the eye test. The Dodgers can crank it, though. If anything, I might go with an over on this one, but I haven't played it yet.
Unknown Entity in the chat says, don't we fade Houston coming out of Colorado? In this case, no, because I feel like they mentally we talked about it on the show yesterday. I said Colorado plus 1.5, probably the side. Felt like they kind of went through the motions a little bit. They were already mentally in LA. Maybe at times it was not their best effort. So for me, not this time. Like if it was a scenario where, maybe they had like played it later in the day or something, there was more travel, yes, but early game, kind of mentally not there. Colorado to LA, I'm not putting as much stock in that. I just wanted to address that. I'm not putting that as much stock in that as I maybe would if it was a farther trip. As far as this game is concerned, so Bryan talked about Kasparius coming out of the bullpen a lot. They really were. They kind of had him paired with Ohtani, so he was still the starter. In theory, he was still the starter. He was just the guy coming in inning 2, so Ohtani could have his 1 inning. He is a fantastic prospect, as Bryan said. A lot to like here. A lot of red on the Savant page. My only issue is that I feel like the books have acknowledged this and have priced him almost out of range. It's like they know he's very good, right? And so I played against him last Saturday when he was following Ohtani because the money line was outrageous. And I was like, well, they're pricing in Ohtani too much. But now I'm starting to see this and I'm realizing that I think they're just really making you pay a premium to back this guy because they know he's very good. Now, in this scenario, I think you could potentially fade him just because of where the price point is, right? Like the Astros have proven that they know how to win baseball games. They might not have the names, but they have a very good team. Didn't use a ton of pen yesterday. McCullers is not a guy I'm really dying to back, but he's a veteran. On a given day, he can get some swing and miss and keep you in the game. I like Astros plus 1.5 here. If that came down another 10 cents, I might have to give it some strong consideration. Right now, plus 1.5 is minus 130. You guys know I like my plus 1.5 with the road teams. And so you kind of get that extra at that. So certainly that's appealing. If that came down another 10 cents where I could get Astros plus 1.5 minus 120, who knows? Maybe it makes its way onto my card. But that's the way I'm looking here. I think Astros have some value in this game. We got to shout out. Where did the comment go? Here it is. We got to shout out Carmine Bianco in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. He says, happy 4th of July, everyone. Carmine, what we need to know from you is on Canada Day, are you and Prez out there just acting all obnoxious? Are you guys setting fireworks off in your backyard? Like are you doing the same stuff we do here in the States on 4th of July? That was something that came up on the first. When I didn't realize it was Canada Day, everyone clued me into the fact that Canada Day was the first. Jays were playing a day game. We just want to know what you guys do, and if it's the same as what we do in the States. What I do know is the Jays are playing unreal ball. Let's go to that. Let's for Carmine and our neighbors to the north in the chat. Let's give the Blue Jays their shine on this show right now. They swept the Yankees in 4 games. They are playing outstanding ball. I mean, they might win this division, Bryan, Leonard. And, someone else, we got a shout out too that I want to point out here because this is all the same game. Carlisle Hines. Hey, thank you all for the analysis. I made a nice amount on the Angels yesterday. Yeah, the Angels was an easy winner, but I believe a 4% play for Bryan Leonard. We used it in the parlay here on the show. Now we've got Angels, Blue Jays, Jays playing as good as can possibly be. How do you see this one, Blue Jays, Angels?
Currently, they've got Hendricks listed as the starter for the Angels, and he's actually pitched very well lately. Going up against Lauer, who has also pitched well. Lauer the lefty. The Angels are about league average in hitting against lefties, not too bad. Toronto comes in about a 158 favorite. The Angels total in that is 9.5 to the under. Yeah, Carmine, I've never seen a Canadian being so excited about the 4th of July. I think he secretly wants to live in the United States. Every time I'm on Twitter or something, he's coming in with, hey, happy 4th of July.
He's here enough. I always see him out in Vegas. He's always out in Vegas, Bryan. He's here enough.
He is here enough, yes. And one of the nicest and most generous people I've ever met in my life. And
the nicest.
I've never met anybody who did not like Carmine when you get to meet him.
He is a very sweet guy.
Yes, he is. Yes. And his wife is terrific also. So I enjoy their company. But yeah, we're looking at the Angels, a team that was very good to me yesterday going against Toronto. And two teams playing really well right now. Looking at StatCast page right now, they don't have it updated. Oh, there it is. Okay, Kyle Hendricks. Just a moment here. Kyle Hendricks on the season, 4.66 ERA, expected ERA 3.91, 1.30 WHIP. What he's good at, average exit velocity, 95th percentile. He keeps you off balance. Chase rate, 80th percentile. Walk rate, 79th. Hard hit, 81st. That's the way it's been his entire career. He's one of these guys that nobody wants to back because he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. And I've talked about this in the past. Just this year, 87 innings, 60 strikeouts. He gets you to hit the ball off balance a little bit, and you're not getting all of it, so he doesn't give up a ton of home runs. But what he does struggle with is fastball velocity. He's obviously not very good at that. First percentile, whiff rate, second percentile, extension first, strikeout percentage ninth. Everything that we know of Hendricks, he's been that way this year. He's only got 4 pitches. His changeup, his sinker, his four-seamer, and his curve. And what I like about him is his four-seamer, he only throws 15% of the time. And like I said, he's in the first velocity, first percentile in that. So he knows that that's his weak spot in his game, and he only throws it 15% of the time. He is a smart player, and he's been a smart player his entire career. He's been able to survive 12 seasons now in Major League Baseball. Hats off to Kyle Hendricks. When I was growing up, there was a lot of guys like him, and they were able to have great careers. And so good for him. He's on the mound today against another guy who is finding some success, Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer's gone 7 seasons now, and he comes in with a 2.60 ERA, 3.35 expected, 1.07 WHIP. He's been very good in certain situations. His expected ERA, 72nd percentile, expected batting average, 80th. But he does give up a lot of fly balls, and he's in the 8th percentile of that. 14th percentile in fastball velocity, average exit velocity, chase, hard hit rate. They're all 25th percent or less. He's been pitching very well this year. And if you look back, he didn't pitch at all in the majors in 2024. 2023, he only threw 844 pitches. But the last time he was healthy, back in 2022 and 2021, his ERAs were 3.69 and 3.19. So this is a guy who's shown it in the past when he is healthy. And being a left-hander, and I always like to bet on left-handers because they seem to have better numbers in Major League Baseball. So he's a guy that can get you out and keep you off balance. So we got 2 guys very similar in this matchup going against 2 offenses, which are hitting very well right now. 9.5 on the total normally would be pretty high, but the way these teams are hitting now, I can understand it. Slightly into the under, but probably won't get involved this one.
Yeah. So the first kind of knee-jerk reaction is to say, "Oh, Kyle Hendricks, he sucks. So he's a tomato can. Let's go with the over." But actually, take a closer look. These 2 pitchers, they don't walk anyone. I mean, their walk rates are excellent. I got Toronto ranked 6th in batting. I got the Angels ranked 12th in batting currently. 2 really bad bullpens, though. So that would scare me on taking an under here because I have both bullpens ranked 26th or worse in current form on a scale of 30. My numbers don't like Kyle Hendricks at all, but actually I kind of like him more than I used to, if that's anything. So I got too many conflicting numbers and eye tests bias, so I'm probably going to stay off this game.
So Bryan mentioned like Eric Lauer, 2024, he was over in Korea, and he didn't have an Eric Fetty type year in Korea, or like, you know, one of these guys like even like a Kyle Hart that was very dominant and comes back and does well in MLB. But I do remember, I think the motivation for him to go over to Korea was to continue to be able to start games, because I don't think he felt like a big league club was going to have him in the rotation every 5th day. And something that, came from his time in Korea was an improved pitch mix where he started to throw the fastball far less. It was what I was pulling up quickly was his numbers from the big leagues in 2023, where in some way, shape, or form, he was throwing like 80% fastballs, whether it be the fastball or the cutter, was throwing it about 80% of the time. Now it's far less. Tokyo Brandon, that makes complete sense because you kind of have to mix it up to get guys out in Korea, right? They are it's much different approach. They're slapping the ball everywhere. And I just think that he really improved his pitch mix, came back over here. Remember, he was not guaranteed anything. The Blue Jays sort of threw him on the roster because they were desperate for pitching. He was down here at AAA in Buffalo and really throwing the ball well. So he has totally pitched his way into the starting rotation. Even when they called him up, it was never to be a starter. It was to be like, hey, give us 3 innings of long relief out of the bullpen. We'll be happy. And he's just been like undeniable at this point where the Jays have had no choice but to put him in the starting rotation. So he's been super impressive in that regard. I fully agree. Kyle Hendricks can still get outs. Tremendous at keeping guys off balance. The Jays, though, right now, man, is anyone keeping them off balance right now? It feels like they're hitting everything. That being said, I don't hate like a first 5 under here. I don't really want to go full game under in this because the Blue Jays have had just absolutely cooked through bullpen arms. And I still don't really trust this Angels bullpen, but I do trust Lauer first time through. And Hendricks is that annoying guy where if you might be able to get him for a 3 spot early, but if you can't and you let him settle in, he'll give you 5-6 good innings. So I'll say first 5 under would be my lean for this one. That's about all I have in this game. Go ahead, Bryan Leonard.
Yeah, I want to touch on the bullpens here. The Angels bullpen's in a lot better shape than Toronto's. Hoffman has pitched 4 of the last 5 days. I'm surprised they actually used him yesterday. And they have some other guys that have been used a lot in the bullpen here. The more I look at it, the more I lean a little bit with the road to underdog Angels, because Toronto is coming off. This is the first time in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays they've ever swept a 4-game home series against the Yankees. And not only that, it put them in first place. So you've got to feel if you put your in position of the players now they're playing the Angels, which is a team that has not been competitive in years, and kind of like you could kind of see them coming into this game. You mentioned the Houston situation against Colorado yesterday. I could see something like that happen. So maybe I'll give it another look here on the Angels later on in the day. I'll look more into it, but this has got to be a definite letdown situation for Toronto.
Bryan Leonard, I'll tell you right now, Angels plus 1.5. If let's say the people are in on the Blue Jays and this came down another 10 to 15 cents, I'm with you. I would have to consider Angels plus 1.5. G Hurt says Toronto's bullpen, I think, is a little underrated. Yeah, you're right. It is. But the problem with Toronto's bullpen is it's not super deep. And I'll also explain how, like, you recently took Eric Lauer out of the bullpen and made him a starter. He was one of the guys sort of giving that bullpen depth. So once you get past Hoffman, I know they just got Garcia back. Those top 2, 3, 4 arms, their bullpen, they are beatable after those guys. And now you took one of the length guys out of the bullpen and made him a starter. So, Bryan, we might have to come back to that one. That might go in the parlay. I don't know. I may come right back with Angels plus 1.5 in the parlay. We'll see how the rest of the show goes, but that's a really good point. TB, were you going to say something? Sorry about that.
No, we can go to the next one.
All right, let's go to a couple people asked about this one. How did I just lose? I am getting better at starring the comments.
You're in the stars,
so I don't lose them. Oh, Michael Glowacki, sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong. Any thoughts on Reds Phillies today? I believe this is another early game, day slate. We have the Reds, and I lost this on the screen. Is this Abbott Luzardo? Is my memory serving me correct here, Bryan Leonard? Start us off. Abbott Luzardo, Reds Phillies.
Yeah, a couple lefties going here. Abbott and Luzardo, current line, Philadelphia, basically 156 and a total of 8. My first look at this was Andrew Abbott, and he's just flummoxed me his entire career. I've gotten to the point, and I talked about this last time he pitched, that he just does something in these games that it's not showing up in his numbers, and he's having a lot of success. He's been very good. And Luzardo, obviously, as TB will talk to you don't bet against Jesus. But I can't believe I picked that up from you. But
I have
Two
a
good
ton of
pitchers.
them.
Two good pitchers here. And I'm kind of leaning with Cincinnati here. I think there's a lot of value. You're getting them at anywhere from 134 to 145 out there. I think that there's a little bit of value. Philadelphia, obviously, Harper's back now, but he's been out for a while. He's not going to be able to be the typical Harper coming right off the IL like that. But I like both of these pitchers. I think it's a total of 8. It wouldn't surprise me if this is a lower scoring game than that. You look at Abbott, comes in. He's 7-1 on the season, by the way. I'm not big on the win-loss, but hey, he's found a way to win. 1.79 ERA, expected ERA 3.05. Yes, he's gotten a little bit lucky. His whip 1.02, excellent. He's a fly ball pitcher. That's my only concern in this game is Philadelphia's a pretty good fly ball hitting baseball park for home runs. He's only in the 7th percentile in ground ball rate. That said, he pitches in Cincinnati, which is probably the biggest home run park in Major League Baseball. Colorado's more of a single, double, triple situation. So he's learned how to pitch in Cincinnati. He should be able to pitch in Philadelphia here. He's got excellent hard hit rate, 91st percentile, 81st percentile expected batting average, 80th in average exit velocity. He's a guy I'm looking to back, and you don't find pitchers as good as him in this price range as an underdog very often. And Luzardo has been exactly what we expected this year. 4.06 ERA, but his expected ERA is 3.57. His whip rate is high, 1.41, but it's mostly from hits. It's not from walks. He's below league average, 7.8% walks. Doesn't have a lot of extension, and that's his only weakness. So you got more time to look at what he's throwing in there, but he's got a very good fastball. 81st percentile, whiff rate 82nd, strikeout rate 80th. So two very good pitchers here. And in this price range, I'm leaning towards the under anyway. Maybe I play Philadelphia team total under. Let's take a look at that. The total right now, Philadelphia is 4.5 to the under 30. That's not bad here. I'm looking at Philadelphia team total under minus 130 right now. It's not my play on the parlay, but it's something that has a little bit of value, like Cincinnati, like the team total under here for Philadelphia.
So Brian's going to hell because he's betting against Jesus. So I'll give my analysis now. No, I'm just kidding. But Jesus Lazard, he's a kind of an enigma in my analysis because on the one hand, I have him ranked the number 11 pitcher out of all pitchers in MLB. On the other hand, though, when I break down his expected results, he ranks quite low, actually. I got him ranked 18 on a curve of 30. So how do I bring that together? How do I analyze that? I don't know. He's an enigma is all I can say. I got Abbott ranked 9 out of 30. He's pretty good. And he doesn't walk anyone. He's the opposite of a chronic walker. So the problem is the Reds bullpen is poor. They're playing poorly right now. Philadelphia's bullpen, not much better. So I don't trust either one of these bullpens. And both clubs are hitting exactly at 16 out of 30 in current form. So I'm not going to play the game, but if I did, I think Cincinnati has a slight advantage because of the starting pitching. Yes, I'm saying bad things about Jesus, but I think Cincinnati might have an advantage here. I wouldn't argue with Brian's Philly team total under, but I'm not playing it.
I will. I'll definitely sort of second that opinion. I like the full game under here. I've kind of said throughout the year, I feel like this Philly lineup is more optimal against right-handed pitching. They're up against a very, very good lefty here. So that's something that I think sort of bodes well for the under. TB, you mentioned the Reds bullpen, and it's definitely, notable, but they do come off a day off. So they kind of have their better arms are lined up. And then, Luzardo is still a guy. I mean, how skewed are his numbers right now from those 2 starts where he gave up 20 earned runs? Mm-hmm. Because really since then, he pitched 6 2/3 a shutout ball against the Mets. Last time out, a respectable 5 innings against the Braves. Wasn't his best effort. He had 6 innings of shutout ball with 10 strikeouts against the Cubs. So he's a guy where it's just like, he's been around for a long time. We know he's very solid Major League Baseball, top-notch pitcher, number one, number two in your rotation. And he's got in his full season numbers, which the books do a lot of their projections off of and base stuff off of, he has 2 starts where he gave up 20 earned runs. Like, go find a month in Luzardo's career where he's given up more than 20 earned runs in a month. Like, that would be hard to find over the course of his career. He did it in 2 starts. It's such an outlier that I think it's really skewed the numbers on him. Now, I don't want to go against the Reds here because I have reasons to like the Reds as well. But I just think it's kind of skewed the numbers to the point where Luzardo's a little bit inflated. You know, they're a little bit inflated. And if I know Abbott is a guy that I like, I'm getting him against a team that lines up worse against left-handed pitching. How would I not like a full game under there? So I agree with Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
That's probably why my numbers are so skewed.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
I agree. The Phillies against lefties since June 1st have a 74 WRC plus. They struggled against lefties. And both of the bullpen, you mentioned the one bullpen, both teams had yesterday off. So both bullpens are in pretty good shape here. So I think we got some good qualifying bets here, at least in my opinion. We've got the under in the entire game, I would agree with. The Philadelphia team total under, and also the Reds at plus money. So I think that's a pretty good 3 ways to attack this game.
For sure. I would agree with that. Let's go to this is a good one. Got to talk about this one. Let's go to Arias. He said, you guys should hit the DeGen special. Rockies, White Sox. Yeah, that is the DeGen special. And I got to be honest, I for sure. So everyone's probably like White Sox just trigs 5%er. It's not. I will say it was one that I very much had on my radar.
Of course you did.
Brian Leonard, I like the White Sox here, but I just don't know if I can. Can I lay minus 125 or minus 120, minus 125 on the road with the Chicago White Sox? I don't know, but I do think they're the right side. If you're just telling me to pick the winner, I do think they're the right side. So I'll go to you, White Sox Rockies in the game that no one wants to watch today.
I was hoping we would go over this game because I too looked at this game and I said, Chicago White Sox, it's a team we like. They're playing better ball. And they go to Colorado, and the Colorado off of a win. Hauser for the White Sox has been tremendous. I don't know if I buy into it for the full season, but he's having a hell of a year for them. They're about in the 120 to 125 range. And the total is 11 to the over. And I would agree. The White Sox would be the team that I would look to play in this game. Hauser and Sensatella, whatever you pronounce it, he's not done well this year. Adrian Hauser comes in 1.90 ERA, expected ERA 3.64. Yes, he's gotten lucky, and there will be negative aggression. 1.17 whip. He's got great extension, 87th percentile, barrel rate 76, ground ball rate 70th. So he doesn't give up a lot of fly balls, although this stadium is more for, as I mentioned, doubles and triples and singles than it is for home runs. That's nice to see. His whiff rate is not great. He's in the 13th percentile, strikeout rate 21st percentile. So there's going to be a lot of balls in play when he pitches, and this is probably not a very good ballpark for somebody that does that. Sensatalia comes in 6.69 ERA after a 6.57 ERA last year. Expected ERA 6.75 after expected ERA last year of 9.03. Expected ERA the year before that 10.68. I've said this all season long, and I may have misspoken on one of my write-ups yesterday when I talked about a pitcher being the worst pitcher in baseball. Sensatalia is the worst pitcher in baseball. Strikeout rate, first percentile. Expected ERA, first percentile. Expected batting average, first percentile. Chase rate, third. Whiff rate, third. He does nothing well except for he's in the 69th percentile in ground ball rate. And as I pointed out, this is not, home runs are not what you have to worry about in Colorado. It's spreading that ball around. It's a huge, huge outfield. So we've got 2 guys that can be hit here, which is why the number is at 11. But I think the White Sox right now, with the starting pitcher advantage they have, you rarely are you going to see a starting pitcher advantage. And I never thought I'd say this with Adrian Hauser being that much better than any pitcher in Major League Baseball. But this year, I don't know what he's done. I haven't seen a lot of write-ups. I follow a lot of guys who really follow pitching mechanics, and they do a lot, break down the videos and everything. I haven't seen a lot about him out there, so they must be as puzzled as I am about it. But to see the White Sox as a road favorite, and I've seen this. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've seen this many times where you look at a line and you go, why is this team a road favorite? Usually there's a reason why they're the road favorite. I like the White Sox in this game.
What do we call this game? The two worst teams in MLB. Actually, I don't think the White Sox are one of the two worst teams in MLB. Actually, I think the Guardians are worse than the White Sox, in my opinion. Sorry, Brian, but they're playing like it. And I think the Twins are. I think the White Sox could give the Twins competition for being the worst team as well, or the second worst team, shall we say? But looking at this game, I agree with you, Brian. Senzatella is not very good. Dolander's not very good either. Man, they're just hurting everywhere, except the bullpen. Their bullpen's playing quite well. Actually, both of these teams have pretty decent bullpens. And I got Hauser ranked in the top 1/3 of starting pitchers. I don't think the sample size is good enough to actually rely on that ranking. But yeah, Senzatella, I got him ranked 29 out of 30 on a curve of 30. So yeah, he's close to the bottom of the barrel. Neither team can hit very well. And both bullpens are playing really well. So if anything, I know this sounds weird, but an under perhaps in Colorado. Wow. I'm not going to play this game. Sorry. I just wanted to give you guys my rankings.
Listen, I picked something up on a AAA broadcast earlier this year that I think is super interesting in regards to Adrian Hauser. So I was watching a Round Rock game. Adrian Hauser started the year in the Rangers organization. He pitched for AAA Round Rock. And one thing led to another. Sometimes for these 40-man roster AAA guys, sometimes they have to release guys. It's just they run out of options. They run out of room. It's just the nature of the beast. And sometimes these veteran type guys, these journeyman type guys just get released based on it's almost like logistics, not performance based. On the Round Rock broadcast, they were talking to the coach before the game. And this was, so Adrian Hauser threw a complete game. I think he went 8 2/3 at Round Rock, like shutout ball against the Oklahoma City Comets, who are the Dodgers AAA team, who have had and even at the time, this was still when like Hai-Song Kim was in that lineup, Dalton Rushing. I mean, that's a loaded AAA lineup. And the coach made a comment like we wish he held off on the complete game shutout until like next week because we really wanted him back. And so they had to release him for reasons probably that weren't performance related. And like the next day, the White Sox signed him. The Rangers, who you got to remember, the Rangers organization is their starting pitching. What are they? Top 5, top 3 in the league this year with starting pitching. They've been very good at evaluating starting pitchers. They were like very disappointed that he didn't clear waivers or whatever it is. And maybe Bryan can speak to the process a little bit more, but he didn't clear the 30 team because the other 29 teams get a crack at him before you can then go and re-sign him, I think is how it works. The White Sox grabbed him, and I know it was appealing for Hauser because he's a guy that was in AAA with the Rangers because he wants to be a starting pitcher. He doesn't want to pitch out of the bullpen. He thinks his stuff probably plays better as a starter. And so I think for him, he's loving the fact that he's in Chicago, getting to pitch every 5th day. He's really been fantastic. And you have another organization that's been very, very good at evaluating starting pitching that was saying, damn, we really didn't want to give him up. That's all I need to know about Adrian Hauser. His fastball command is really good, really improved. I will be using the White Sox for my parlay leg. I don't know if I can stomach it from a straight bet standpoint at the price because it still is the White Sox. They're still on the road, but for the parlay, I think it's pretty good. So I'll go to Bryan Leonard for a follow-up, and he's going to give me the odds on this game.
Yeah, Adrian Hauser is in his 9th season in Major League Baseball. He's got 159 games, basically 651 innings in Major League Baseball. When you have a guy like that in the minors, and he's never shown this ability in the past, his career ERA is 4.06. Not bad. not bad, but he's never been one of those really upside guys. And when you have guys in the minors, you want to bring up the better prospects, the guys that have a better future. A lot of teams feel that he's been around long enough. We've seen what we can see out of Hauser, and that's why they had to let him go. When you take a look at Colorado on the season, they are 4-17 on the road, or 4-17 against the American League. They have not played well against the American League. They haven't played well against just about anybody. But if you look at these teams and you say they're closer than the Rockies are the worst team in baseball, and if you say the White Sox are next worst, that's fine. But on the season in run differential, the White Sox are -90, which is 20 worse than the Marlins and 22 worse than the Nationals. So they're very in the same similar area. But you find the Colorado Rockies at -223. There is a big differential. They may be 29-30 in Major League Baseball in strength, but the difference between 29 and 30 is very pronounced. It's sort of like, you get a team in Major League, like the Dodgers would be number 1 in Major League Baseball, and then you've got a drop off after that. And that's what we see at the bottom of these standings here. And I like the White Sox. I totally agree with you. This is a time, if you're going to play the White Sox, you don't need that +1.5. I think they win the game straight up.
Yep. What's the best money line, or what's the market price on this right now for the parlay, Brian?
Yep. Currently the White Sox are -123, I would say.
All right, let's go -123. First parlay leg locked in. We'll be locking in others. We've got 10 minutes to go. So I was going to go to the chat for a game, but I want to see, do either of you guys know what your parlay leg is yet that you want to just lock it in? Is it a game we've already talked about, or do you want to, Brian Leonard, do you want to propose a game here?
It's not a game we've talked about. Adam, you didn't even crack a smile at my comment there. Come on, man.
To be honest with you, Tokyo Brandon, I can't really. So the way the
you can't laugh. You're not capable of laughing. I can't
really see it because when I do the show, I don't wear my glasses. I don't want to wear my glasses on air. And so you. Like the screen that I get back and feed is the writing's very small. I can only really see the comments on the right-hand side. And there's many of them that they just go away. Yeah. So anyway, we only have 8 minutes left. So you need to give we got to do parlay legs and talk baseball.
Can we do the Rays game then? Because
so that's what Queen Rocks. That's one I had started. Queen Rocks 1341 says, can we cover the Tampa Bay game? So let's talk Tampa Bay. And
awesome.
You can start us off, and then we'll go to Brian. Go the other direction here.
Let Brian go first, please.
I'll be short on it then. Littell against Paddock. Line is Minnesota at home basically 113. Total 9.5 to the over. Littell's been a guy who's been very good for them. Paddock has been very up and down. Sometimes he's been very good. He doesn't walk anybody. He's a 6.3 walk rate, whereas Littell's at 3.1. So I may understand where Brandon's going on here. But two guys that don't put a lot of batters on base because of the walk. Two guys that usually your general public are not looking to bet on. I don't have anything on the game, but I think I can figure out where you're going.
You got it. Actually, my numbers, if you take Paddock and you project his expected numbers, man, he's like in Senzatella territory, man. His numbers are horrible if you project him out. I got Littell, as far as his projections are concerned, pretty average, like right around 15 out of 30 on a curve of 30. Bullpen's comparable, but the big difference here is going to be the lineups, I think. Minnesota is having trouble producing runs where Tampa Bay is not. And I like Littell. He let me down a couple times this season, earlier in the season, but if you look at how he's performed recently, pretty darn good. He's given up 1. He had a rough patch there against the Orioles and Red Sox where he gave up 3 and 4. But besides that 3 and 4, he's given up 1 or less earned runs in 3 starts. It's pretty good to me. Looks good to me. And if you look at how he's done against the Twins, he's done pretty good. 2.39 ERA against and a 7.40 OPS. Not great, but not bad. I like the Rays here. I think they're just on a roll, and I think Minnesota is one of the worst teams in MLB right now. I don't think talent-wise they're one of the worst, but they're performing poorly right now. And it takes a collective team to get out of a little quagmire like that. It takes a little time. Like we saw the Mets finally get out of their quagmire. I don't know if they're out yet, but they could be. So I like the Rays here. I don't know what the line is, though, off the top of my head.
Well, there was a comment in yesterday's show saying, "Damn, doesn't Tokyo Brandon ever play an underdog? You're getting him a plus 100." So there's your underdog.
There you go.
You finally made the board with an underdog play.
My 5% play yesterday was plus 115.
Well, I think he's talking about your parlays. So.
Okay. We don't have to do underdogs in parlays though.
Right. No, that's true. I'm with you there, TB. I'm always going to be a little bit more liberal with what I'll lay for a sort of best bet when we're putting together a 3-teamer that's always going to be plus money. I'm actually very surprised the Rays are an underdog here. I make them the favorite. I think they'll probably go off the favorite. TB, you're not wrong. The Twins suck. Like this team I'll say it. Like I don't think they're any good. I think if you remember, do you remember how bad they were in April? And then they kind of had that stretch where they like caught fire. And now they're just that same bad team that they were. There's very little appeal to this team. Chris Paddock, I can't stand. I gotta vent for a second because I was the biggest Chris Paddock hater out of the gate. I think I cashed it once with him and then I kind of let it go. And he went on this like obnoxious run to the point where there was a spot where I really wanted to fade the Astros, and because I still think the Astros are a good fade, and I had to do it. That the spot came up. I wanted to fade the Astros. I wanted to fade Colton Gordon, and I chose to do it with Chris Paddock, who went on to give up 9 runs on 12 hits in that start. And it's just like that's where I'm at on him. I don't think he's any good. So I cannot disagree with you on a Chris Paddock fade. I talked about the Rays plenty. This team they're a poor man's Tigers. You know, they're a poor man's Tigers. They do more with less. They don't really have superstars, but they got a lot of guys that are plus. You know, they're going to give you probably more than they should on paper. It's like they produce a little bit more than they should on paper. Whether it be like a stolen base out of a guy like Chandler Simpson or just like just this scrappy type play. And then Littell's a clear better starting pitcher. So TB, I am in lockstep with you here. I very much like the Rays in this matchup. Go ahead, Bryan.
I wouldn't say they're the poor man's Tigers because the Tigers are a poor man's team. They don't spend a lot of money. So they have actually taken over what Tampa Bay has done for a decade. Yeah. And that's doing the lefty righty, matching up the players, and they've done very well, and they've had a lot of success in that regard. One thing to say on this game, Minnesota's been very streaky, as you pointed out. They had that big losing streak, then they had a winning streak. Now they have a big losing streak. To me, and I'm not in the locker room, that tells me that they're having something going on in that locker room where if they're in agreement on something and they're playing well, yeah, everything's going great. And then once something happens to them, they fall off that cliff and then they're back to that losing streak again. They've got problems in that locker room. I'm not there. I would just have to say that something is going on in that locker room. I'm going to go back to one of the games for my parlay. I'm going to go back to the Cincinnati-Philadelphia game. I told you there was a few different ways to play that. I'm going to play this Philadelphia team total under 4.5 at minus 130. Abbott, a lefty. Philadelphia has not hit lefties, and Harper's just freshly back in the lineup. So the Philadelphia team, I think, is going to have problems scoring here. I like the under in the Tiger game as well. But let's play Philadelphia under 4.5 at minus 130 when we've got the Cincinnati bullpen fully available in tonight's game.
I think actually, and I think if you can't get a team total in the parlay, like I think you're good with a full game under there as well. I would not play the parlay. I would just go full game under if you can't put a team total in the parlay. I know we've heard from some of you guys that have a hard time getting the team totals in the parlay. I definitely think it is an option for that one. We are right at the 10 a.m. mark. Hit as many games as we could, and we've got a 3-teamer. I love when the 3-teamer is I'm pretty sure it's nicely spaced out. We're starting with the Phillies, then we go to the Rays. We got the White Sox at night. What I will start with, we have a great package right now. The rest of the weekend, it's the three of us. TV and I both have 5%ers today. It's one price. You get all three of our plays for a week. So that's up on everyone's page. Check that out. And also give us the likes and the subscribes. We very much appreciate it. And it helps this show tremendously. I know people will probably tune in. Got to imagine some people are sleeping in today with the day off. So I know you guys will be here on the replay. Drop a comment, like, and subscribe. Very much appreciated. The parlay, which we're due for one a little bit, still on the year, for every dollar, if you've played these all equally, $1 has returned $11.90. So that's pretty good. Plus, or you could look at it, they're plus 11.9 units if you've used the same exact thing on each parlay. That's pretty good. And I think we have a good one today, boys. This is going to be plus 537. So over 5-1 odds. We've got Bryan with the Phillies team total under 4.5. Tokyo Brandon's going with the Rays right around even money. And then it's going to be the White Sox on the road at Coors Field to bring us home tonight. So that three-teamer, plus 537 odds. Phillies team total under 4.5. Rays money line. White Sox money line. Go ahead, Bryan Leonard.
Yeah, first of all, we got a couple extra minutes since we finished a little early. Two things I want to touch on. Number one, I'm not a parlay player, so I play all three of our legs separately. So I'm actually doing better than the parlay numbers because we're going 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple times that I can remember. I don't think if we had an 0-3, I don't think so. It's usually
maybe
one
once or twice.
Yeah, I think
maybe
it's like usually 1 and 2. Second thing is getting into on YouTube, getting in there and asking questions and talking about. We've got a lot of great information out of the people out there. That's something that the upper crust of WagerTalk loves. They've been talking about all these great comments about it, and we all get in there and we have discussions with you, and that's what we really enjoy. As the day goes on, like 4 or 5 times, I'll stop in there and somebody will ask a question or something. So it's a way for us to go back and forth with you. We learn from you, you learn from us, and this has been a great partnership. And I'm so glad that we've been able to do this show for over a month now, and hopefully we'll have continued success.
Let me make a quick comment too. We're not really salespeople, but we have to promote our stuff. But we just like talking baseball and we like interacting with you guys. You guys are a great audience. And seriously, management is coming to all three of us saying, you guys are getting such great engagement. It helps us out a lot. I'm going to be on Saturday tomorrow at noon Eastern. So come join me as well. And check our pages out down there. We all put free plays up as well. So it's worth your 5 seconds to go check our pages out and see what we have available.
High praise from Travis Helm. He says, best handicapper show he's ever seen in 5 years. Listen, I don't know if that's true, but we'll take that compliment all day, every day. Appreciate you guys. One more time for the people in the back, TV. The parlay today. White Sox, money line. Rays, money line. Phillies team total under 4.5. If you don't have the ability to parlay team totals, I'm going to give you the okay to go just full game under in that Phillies-Reds game. I think it's going to be a great battle of pitching throughout. Hope everyone has a fantastic and safe 4th of July weekend.
Happy 250.
Get some sun, touch some grass, as the kids say. I think that's the new saying. I don't know. I'm not hip anymore. I'm almost 40. Turned 39 the other day. So, but anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you back here Monday morning, 9 a.m.